After getting done with his playful activities, our hero Rakuto goes to feed his new ant girl Ria her food. She is shown to be getting better and can eat with a spoon now, so Rakuto doesn't have to worry about transferring the food through kisses. Then, he moves on to feed Reina, who also wants to be fed by her lover boy. However, he has to put her on his lap, and it makes her feel a little shy. She asks why she needs to be seated like this, and our hero simply says that she's short, so it's easier if she's in his lap. Mia and Natsumi also want this special treatment, so they convince Rakuto to do the same with them. They open their mouths for a nice treat, but Remina walks in at that very moment. She thinks that our hero is letting his intrusive thoughts take over early in the morning, but he simply asks her if she needs something. She says that there is a problem with a coffee shop which is being run by one of her friends. Basically, a new store has been built close to it, which means she's losing customers. Rakuto wants to act on this as soon as possible, but Remina thinks that he's being too impulsive. Our hero says that he can't just sit here and ignore a request from a pretty girl like Ramina, so it makes her blush. With that, Rakuto and his harem rush to the coffee shop where they meet Remina's friend who is a cat girl. She asks Remina who these people are, and is told that they are the ones that are going to help her. The girl introduces herself as Tana, but she seems to know Rakuto as a playboy who likes to play with many girls at the same time. Of course, this makes Rakuto a little conscious, so he says that he hasn't played with all the girls he knows. Tana doesn't care about that, but she does mention how Remina keeps praising her lover boy, especially after he came to shop at her store. Of course, this leads to an awkward moment for Remina, but it's fine because all the other girls also talk about their playboy master the same way. Instead of the girls getting upset about it, they only end up liking Rakuto even more, but this isn't the time to let their fantasies run loose, so Rakuto sits down with Tana and asks her about the issues she's facing. She explains that she used to be an adventurer like Remina, but it was always her dream to open a coffee shop. In order to make this dream a reality, she worked very hard and saved enough money to start her own store. The store was doing good business as well, but then she was met with an obstacle in the form of a competitor. The main problem she's facing is that the other store shares a lot of flyers and they price their whole menu at a much cheaper rate. Tana can't compete with them at all, so she is losing all her customers to this new enemy. She is visibly worried, so Rakuto asks her if she has ever visited the store. Tana looks shocked and says that she would never do such a thing. But our hero tells her that she needs to study her competition if she wants to learn from them. After all, it's not like pricing could be the only problem for her, and there might be other plans that the opposition store is using. Tana feels upset about this, but she knows that Rakuto is making sense, so she agrees to go to the store and see what they're doing. With that, Rakuto, Tana, and the harem girls head to the opposition store and take a table. The place definitely looks like it's doing a lot of business, and then the waitress arrives with the menu. Our hero takes one look at it and is shocked to see that the prices are half of what Tana is offering. He looks at the waitress in disbelief and asks her how the coffee shop is able to offer such prices. She simply says that it's a promotional price to commemorate the opening of the coffee shop. But even then, there's a limit to the amount of discounts that you can give. Upon asking the duration of the offer, Rakuto is only told that no decision has been made on that yet. Something doesn't seem right. So our hero asks Reina if it is legal to sell such cheap products in this country. She says that the seller is free to choose the prices they sell their items at, so it makes Rakuto a little concerned. The girls ask their lover boy why he's feeling so low all of a sudden, and he replies by saying it's a criminal sin to sell goods at such low prices. However, his words catch the attention of another cat girl and she shows up to say that Rakuto should not call her a criminal. She doesn't find anything wrong with what the coffee shop is doing, and she says that the promotion can go on for as long as she likes because no decision has been made on the duration as of now. Of course, the main idea here is to sell products so cheaply that the other stores run out of business and close down. Just like how Tana is facing problems with her own coffee shop, once there is no one else left to compete. The new store can choose to sell its products at whatever price it would prefer. Reina is upset to hear such an evil plan. And then we learn that this cat girl is Camille Felix. She is supposed to be very famous because she had created a special cuisine using her creative season when she was just 6 years old. This earned her the nickname Emperor of Seasoning, and she has made a lot of money through her cuisine. Camille goes on to thank Tana for making her store such a success, but this confuses everyone. Camille explains that for a store to work, she needed to find a place where people would already gather in numbers, and that happened to be Tana's coffee shop. This was the main reason why she chose to open her store right next to hers. Camille switches to her villain mode and says that she enjoys seeing the face of a beaten loser coming to her store to admit defeat. Tana is visibly in tears after hearing this, but Rakuto is not going to lose focus so easily. He decides to place an order for the food, which makes the other girls confused. However, our hero knows that he needs to find out what's so special about the food here, because he can choose a counter method accordingly. After taking a bite of the first dish, he instantly identifies the secret ingredient to be mayonnaise, which surprises Camille because not many people know about it in this world. Tiana also takes a bite of the food, and sadly admits that she can't match the taste of Camille's meals. This makes the evil cat girl even happier as she has now seen the face of a loser. This might feel like entertainment to her, but Rakuto continues to taste the food, and the next item is ramen, which Camille likes to call her special pasta soup. After tasting the ramen, our hero realizes that it is actually miso ramen. This is almost as if a person from Japan came to this world and used their knowledge to make these dishes a huge success. Rakuto asks Reina if Camille was indeed 6 years old when she invented her dishes, and she says that it's what she has heard from other people. Our hero gives it some thought and suspects that Camille is also a human from Earth who has been reincarnated into the body of a cat girl, but with all her memories still in place. It's the only logical explanation for now, but the only thing Camille wants to see right now is Tiana admitting defeat after tasting her dishes. Her words are a bit too cold, so it makes Rakuto upset as he slams the table with rage. Camille tries to act tough and says that nothing will change even if Rakuto were to hit her. She even calls him a loser, but then something odd happens. Camille falls to the ground and starts acting weird by exposing herself to Rakuto. Our hero has no wish to see her body, but it looks like Camille isn't in control of her actions either. Rakuto wonders what could be causing this scene, and then he notices Ria looking at Camille with indifference. Rakuto figures that Ria's mom had special powers, so it makes sense for her to also have the same skills. This means that Ria can read our hero's heart and can act as per what he feels. The funny thing though, is that most of what Rakuto is thinking has to do with his harem and their unspeakable acts. Ria and Rakuto have a telepathic chat for a bit, but it looks like Ria also wants to be violated like the other girls of our hero's harem. Before he can think about it, Rakuto is scolded by Camille because she is sure that he was the one who made her expose herself to him. Of course, Rakuto tries to show that he has no idea about it, but Camille continues to accuse him. Either way, it's not like our hero cares much about Camille's body, so she asks him to leave her shop. Rakuto agrees to leave with his girls, but Ria plays one more prank on Camille on their way out. Our hero starts to laugh in front of his girls, so they ask what's so funny. Rakuto brushes aside the topic and instead tells them that everything is going to be fine for Tiana. He has figured that Camille's dishes rely heavily on the seasoning, and since he's from Japan, he knows about the ingredients she's using. The boost for him is that he is a summoned human, so he can use chaos magic to take the lead over the evil cat girl. Of course, it would be better if he had someone to assist him with this, especially someone from the shop, because he can then learn about the shop's true intentions. At this very moment, Cecilia shows up once again, but Rakuto mocks her by saying her name incorrectly. She tries to remind everyone that she holds a high rank, but Rakuto is only interested in knowing if she visits Camille's shop. It turns out that Cecilia loves mayonnaise, so she visits the place quite often. This is perfect for Rakuto, so he takes the spoilt brat to the side and asks her to taste some dishes. She just needs to give her honest opinions on them, but she wants to know why she should help Rakuto. Our hero tries to say that they are friends, but then Cecilia says that she has to thank him for defeating the Ant Queen. After all, she did not trust his methods and was against his whole plan, but Rakuto had proven her wrong and saved the people of this kingdom. Cecilia says that she wants to offer her services to Rakuto as a means of saying sorry, and our hero believes that she's doing the right thing. However, he reminds her that she had made a promise to crawl around like a dog and lick his feet if he ended up destroying the ant nest. Cecilia doesn't want to fulfill her promise, so she tries to act as if she doesn't remember saying it. Rakuto doesn't let her off that easy and mocks her nobility in the process. Anyway, this is not the focus of Rakuto's mission, so he brings out the dishes for the girls to try. Everyone takes a bite of the first sample, and while most of the girls love the taste, Cecilia seems to have a problem with it. She does admit that the taste is amazing, but after eating the food at Camille's place, this one tastes like garbage to her. This makes Rakuto smack her in the head because there's a limit to giving honest opinions. After the hilarious chat, the consensus is that Tiana's food is still no match for Camille's. Rakuto realizes that this world does not have a lot of fatty food, which is why something as simple as mayonnaise can become an instant hit. Without further ado, he decides to go ahead and make it, which makes the other girls wonder what he's thinking about. However, Rakuto names all the ingredients needed to make the sauce, and even goes on to create a bowl of mayonnaise in front of the girls. There is no doubt that he has made the exact same thing that Camille uses in her food, so he asks Tiana to use it in her own dish. She is pleased to see this, but she also has other intentions in mind. Tiana liked seeing Rakuto cook for her, so she gets close to him and asks if he can do it again for her. Of course, the other girls notice this and call her out for being shady, but she manages to reason with them, and even Rakuto thinks it's fine. Mia tells Tiana that she will also have to do lewd things with Rakuto, which makes her a little uneasy. However, all the other harem girls say that it's a lot of fun, and it only makes sense if you want to do it. Tiana blushes and says that she was not thinking about doing anything like that, and she just wanted to cook together with Rakuto in the kitchen. Our hero calms her down by rubbing her head and calls her cute. With this new motivation, Tiana gets to work and makes a dish using the mayonnaise. She presents it to everyone to try, and Cecilia takes a bite as well. This time, the dish is amazing and tastes brilliant, but Cecilia seems to enjoy it a bit too much, as can be seen in the way she's imagining the noodles around her. Ria can read her mind, so she takes a mental screenshot and sends it to Rakuto via telepathy. Our hero is shocked to see how nasty Cecilia's thoughts are, but it's fine as long as she's enjoying the meal. Cecilia finally speaks and says that the dish is violently delicious, almost as if she is being entangled in tentacles. Our hero makes a funny face as she has just described what she was having a fantasy about in her head. The important thing, though, is that the dish is good enough to compete against Camille. The other girls try the food and they feel the same way, but the only problem now is the pricing. Camille's shop is way too cheap for Tiana to match, but Rakuto says that he has another idea. The girls are eager to know what he has in mind, and our hero reveals that Tiana can start a maid cafe, just like how it is in Japan. The girls have never heard of this concept before, so they don't know if it will work, but Rakuto is sure that it will be a huge success. He explains that the girls will have to serve the customers while being dressed as maids, and they can offer games and services too. None of the harem girls have any clue of Rakuto's plan, and even he admits that he won't be able to explain the beauty of the concept to them. Anyway, the girls decide to give it a shot, and Natsumi decides to be the first one to learn. In order to show them the ways of a maid, Rakuto decides to dress up as one, and the girls find him much cuter than before. Natsumi is overjoyed to see her lover boy like this, and then they start to roleplay with each other. Rakuto asks her what she would like to eat, but Natsumi is fine with anything. Our hero decides to give her a heart omelet and starts acting cute with his words. This makes Natsumi go crazy with love, and the girls start to understand why their playboy lover suggested this idea. Reina, on the other hand, is shocked to see the curvy change in Rakuto's body, as she doesn't know he's using pads that he had made with magic. She wonders if she can also get a curvy body by eating this food, and Rakuto plays along for the heck of it. Cecilia just watches in the background as Rakuto tends to all of his harem girls and makes them all fall more in love with him. She gets jealous and scolds the player for ignoring her, so he asks if she would also like to be treated. She tries to act cool, but eventually loses her patience after seeing all the girls having so much fun with Rakuto. Cecilia has had enough, so she calls Rakuto a fool and leaves the place. Our hero has the option to follow her, but he chooses not to do so because he already has so many pretty girls in front of him. Cecilia actually storms back into the shop and asks Rakuto why he isn't chasing after her, and he calmly says that he knew she was going to do this. Our hero changes back into his true form, and Reina is upset that his curvy figure was just a scam. Luckily, all the girls have now realized how important a maid dress is to boost sales. As they discuss how to go about the maid cafe, Rakuto thinks out loud by saying maids are good, but the dresses can be changed to look more pleasing to the eye. He does not realize that the harem girls can hear him, so he's in for a shock when they call him out for being shady. Our hero does not back away, and instead he says that having intrusive thoughts is fine. Of course, Cecilia thinks he's being creepy and tries to rally the girls against him, but Natsumi says that she's already given her body to Rakuto for unspeakable acts. The other girls also admit that they enjoy doing naughty things with their lover boy, and it shocks Cecilia. She thinks that everyone has become shady thanks to Rakuto, but our hero ignores her words and says that he wants to dress her up as a maid too. Cecilia is hesitant at first, but then she asks what kind of outfit she needs to wear. Rakuto tells her that she should wear a slave maid collar, and she gets upset upon hearing it. Our hero explains that the slave maid is the highest maid level that can be achieved, because everyone loves to be served by them. Cecilia still finds the whole thing to be senseless, so Rakuto tries one last resort. He says that only Cecilia can fulfill this role because she is a noble and people love to scold noble. The whole idea of her nobility coming to play is what makes Cecilia agree to the role of slave maid. With Cecilia's role set, it's up to the other girls to decide what they're going to wear. Reina is a little shy to try on the maid costume, but then Natsumi decides to spice things up for everyone. She says that everyone should try to dress as nicely as possible, and whoever manages to excite Rakuto the most will get to spend an entire day with him for unspeakable acts. All the girls are now motivated to work as maids, and even Cecilia has the option to be released from her promise if she plays her role well. However, Reina is still a little shy because she is not as curvy as the other girls. She feels that she will just look like a skeleton in comparison to the others, but the harem girls are surprised to see her thinking this way. Rakuto tries to cheer her up by saying she has skin, but it only makes Reina feel worse about her body. Our hero realizes that he has messed up, but then he manages to win Reina over by saying he really wants to see her in a maid outfit. She agrees to dress as a maid to please her lover boy, and Rakuto controls himself to avoid saying anything hurtful again. As the girls dress up in their maid costumes, Rakuto is given a bracelet that Reina goes on to explain. She says that it can emit all kinds of energy depending on the pulse of the person wearing it. The bracelet can change anything, even stones of nature, so it is put on Rakuto in order to judge his reactions. Basically, the girls will be able to assess how excited he gets upon seeing each of them in maid costumes. Our hero is told that the winner will get exclusive access to him for a day, and he agrees to it. Now, it's time to get into action, so Ria dresses up as a schoolgirl and orders for a steak to serve Rakuto. She is able to cut the steak on her own, but she makes an odd face and it worries Rakuto. Luckily, Ria finishes her cutting and then gives a bite of the steak to Rakuto. She flirts with her lover boy for a bit, but then time runs out, so she quickly gives him a kiss. Ria can't cheat, so she has to walk away for now and wait for the other girls to be done with their turns. Next up is Reina, who is feeling a little insecure, but Rakuto lifts her spirits by calling her cute. This lightens up her mood and then she proceeds to sit down with our hero. In a strange turn of events, Reina starts talking about various ways to defeat Camille's shop. Rakuto tells her that she should focus on getting him excited, but Reina is more than happy with him calling her cute, so she's won already. Now, Rakuto tells her that the main focus should be on one kind of menu that everyone knows and likes. It's the kids' menu, but Reina is confused to hear this. Rakuto explains by saying it's easy to prepare a kids' menu because children like to order for the same thing over and over again. Reina asks why adults can't like the same things as well, and it gets Rakuto thinking. After a series of thoughts, he decides to rename the kids' menu to the variety menu, which can be accessible after collecting 15 different flags. He also suggests throwing in an electric Pikachu toy for added effect, and the girls agree. After Reina comes Cecilia, who proudly announces herself as a slave maid. However, Rakuto notices that her outfit is not right, so he orders her to remove some clothing. She doesn't like the sound of this and acts like a victim, but our hero tells her that she has to act like a proper slave maid. Since he is her master, she has to do whatever he says, and Cecilia has to listen to him. She is told that her service is more important than her life, but she argues that Rakuto is asking for something weird. Our hero taunts her for being not up to the task, so Cecilia finally gives in and does as he says. Now, Rakuto asks her what service she will provide, but Cecilia says that she will tread on him with her bare feet. He is confused by this, but Cecilia says that a lot of men have asked her to do such things to them. Rakuto comes to the conclusion that Cecilia is only liked by odd men, and it makes her feel so bad that she drops to the ground. It's not a pleasant reality for her, but our hero tells her it's fine. Cecilia feels some hope and asks him if he can introduce her to some nice men, but her hopes are crushed when Rakuto instantly says no. This angers Cecilia, so she calls him names and storms out of the room. After Cecilia is Remina, and her outfit is clearly the most exciting out of everyone else. Even Rakuto is unable to keep a straight face, and he wonders if this is how she roams around in the city as well. Remina sits close to her lover boy and holds his arm. She acts shy and says that she's used to being an adventurer and ending monsters. However, she needs to be a spicy girl right now, so she suggests using some bread to make things more exciting. Of course, she's not an expert at this, so she can't perform the acts that Rakuto wants her to. Luckily, the playboy is able to take control of the situation and he flirts with Remina in a way that becomes too hot for her to handle. As expected, she passes out from the excitement and Rakuto is left wondering what just happened, with Remina's turn done. It's only Natsumi and Mia who are left for Rakuto to test. He is greeted by Mia, who is wearing an even spicier outfit than Remina. Her actions are a bit too romantic and even the playboy is not able to resist her. He wants to know why she has chosen such a risky outfit, so she says that it's all for her to please him. Mia decides to serve her lover boy with some nice breakfast, so she makes a mayonnaise sandwich for him. Our hero wants to use some other kind of mayonnaise on his maid girl, but he eventually gets the sandwich. He likes it a lot, so Mia asks him if she can be his 7th wife. Rakuto doesn't know why she wants such an odd position, but Mia says that she doesn't mind the position as long as she gets to be his wife. She feels it's better than being a mistress, but Rakuto doesn't get the difference. He eventually agrees to it, so Mia hugs him with joy and declares her love for him. With that, Mia's turn is done and our hero can finally rest from all the passion he was just feeling. Now, it's just Natsumi who's left. But before she can come, Ria enters the room and asks Rekudo if they can share a kiss. Our hero realizes that Ria might be feeling jealous because of the flirting that just happened with me. He tries to let her off easy by saying it will technically be her first kiss, so they should not do it in a hurry. However, Ria says that she has already been kissed by Rekudo multiple times for food. Our hero explains how the feeding process is not the same as a romantic kiss, but Ria could feel her warm heart whenever they would do it, so she decides to go for it anyway. With that, Rekudo has now given Ria her first proper kiss, and she walks away after saying she loves him. Our hero doesn't know what he's gotten himself into, but there's more to come as Natsumi walks into the room wearing a very spicy maid costume. Rekudo can't take his eyes off Natsumi, so she asks him not to stare at her for long. She's feeling very shy in this outfit, but our hero only has nasty thoughts in his mind, so he takes a quick peek. Natsumi is shocked by this behavior, but reasons with herself over the fact that her lover boy is an overpowered fighter. Rekudo explains that he's only doing this because Natsumi is cute, and he also reminds her that he is her master now and not her lover. With that, Natsumi becomes a good girl and does as Rekudo says. She sits next to him, but our hero just can't control himself anymore and lets his intrusive thoughts win. What follows is a rather nasty session, and our hero uses a device to make Natsumi's voice softer. After all, the other girls are right there, so they shouldn't be too loud. After a couple of sessions, it's time to announce the winner, and it's Natsumi by a landslide, as can be seen by the bracelet which had exploded due to Rekudo's passion. Reina knows that she never stood a chance against someone like Natsumi, but scolds Rekudo when he says it was the ear cleaning that totally won him over. Of course, Natsumi had cleaned a lot more than just his ears, so it's natural for Reina to get upset. Rekudo tries to explain that it's a type of play, but his words don't make any sense to Reina, so Ria steps in and drops her garments. It causes Reina to panic, and Rekudo asks Ria if this was her doing. She simply says this was the easier way out, but Rekudo knows he has to prove his point. He takes out an ear cleaner and approaches Reina with it. She worries that he's going to do something naughty to her, but our hero actually uses the tool to clean her ears. Reina enjoys it a lot, but it's only done from one side, so Rekudo tilts her over and does the other side as well. With Reina completely satisfied, it's time for Natsumi to now tell her lover boy what she wants from him, since she has won the challenge. However, she says that she doesn't want anything in particular because she loves Rekudo. She does have one request though, and that's for Rekudo to keep her by his side forever. Our hero is impressed by her words, so he asks if Natsumi is ready to follow him. She doesn't get what he's trying to say, so Rekudo confirms from Natsumi that she will only serve him and no one else. This gesture makes the other girls want their playboy lover even more, and they say that they will also be by his side forever. As a matter of fact, they don't even want Rekudo to dress up as a maid and serve anyone at the cafe. The girls decide that they will simply find some other people to help Tiana with her work. It's time to move on to the next plan of action, so Rekudo takes Natsumi on piggyback and jumps his way to the monster ant colony. Since he had defeated the queen ant, he is now the king of these monsters, and he is greeted by another ant girl. Our hero explains what the situation is and asks for some ant soldiers to help him with the cafe. The ant girl thinks for a bit and states that she can offer some of her best people for the job. Rekudo maintains that he just wants people with basic skills and common sense because he's not interested in causing any problems. The ant girl takes note and calls out another ant girl by mentioning Ria's name. Suddenly, the girl appears and she seems to be very eager to meet Ria. Rekudo doesn't know what's going on, so the ant girl explains that this new person is called Saruka. She was created to be Ria's main bodyguard, and she is programmed to be loyal to the king of the ants. This way, our hero can rest assured that Saruka will get the job done and not be a hassle to him. We also learn that the reason why Saruka hasn't been able to see Ria till now is because the ant soldiers can't leave the forest unless the king allows them to do so. This means that Rekudo will need to give Saruka permission to leave the forest if he wants to use her abilities for the maid cafe. He thinks about it for a bit and asks Natsumi for her advice. She says that she would feel horrible if she was not allowed to see her lover boy and even starts crying just from thinking about it. Rekudo tries to calm her down, but the mere thought of losing her master makes Natsumi burst into tears, although in hilarious fashion. Seeing Natsumi in this condition makes Rekudo wonder about the other girls as well, so he decides to allow Saruka and her team of guards to come with him. They enter the maid cafe where Ria is chilling with Mia. Seeing their mistress makes the ant girl squad extremely happy, and even Ria walks towards them to see who they are. However, Saruka gets a bit too excited and pounces on Ria out of joy. As expected, Ria doesn't want so much drama, so she uses her powers to smash Saruka to the ground. Rekudo is impressed by her powers, and Saruka thinks that Ria is feeling lonely, which is why she attacked her. Of course, Ria doesn't agree with her, but the ant girl squad simply tease her for not being honest with them. She goes to hide behind Rekudo for support, and our hero wonders if he made the right choice by letting these ant girls in. Now, everything is set for the team to open the maid cafe, and then we shift to Camille, who is thinking of ways to make Rekudo regret what he did to her earlier. The next morning, she wakes up to the sounds of pretty girls and looks outside her window to see the harem dressed as maids. Camille is shocked by this and wonders how they know about maid cafes in the first place. The maid cafe opens in full flow, and they start getting a lot of customers right from the start. The ant girls have also joined the squad, and they begin sharing the orders from the customers. Tiana is up to the task and prepares all the dishes, which means she's back in business. All seems to be going well, and Rekudo is pleased to see how effective the ant girl squad actually. In the middle of this, Reina shows up and praises her lover boy for pulling off such a grand plan. Our hero is only focused on his service, so he looks at Reina and asks her what she would like to have. His charm knows no bounds as Reina almost instantly asks for the variety meal. Rekudo tells Reina that she will get all the flags as well as the Pikachu toy, but she says that she's only here for a meal and nothing else. She tries to stress on the fact that she doesn't want a toy made by her lover boy, but all of this was just a show because she happily takes the toy with her. It looks like the perfect plan has been executed, but of course there has to be some kind of issue, and we see it in the form of some rowdy men led by a bald leader. They storm into the maid cafe and ask why is it so popular when both the staff and the customers are beast people. This is all to create a ruckus, but Rekudo has seen such situations before, so he tells the girls to step aside and let him do the talking. He walks up to the gang and asks them how he can help them. These men are not polite at all, and the bald leader says that his nose was attacked by the smell of beasts in this cafe. He actually dares to demand some kind of payment as compensation for it, but Rekudo isn't one to get scared by such methods. As a matter of fact, he simply mocks the bald leader and knocks out all his goons with a simple punch. This shocks the bald leader and he wonders how Rekudo was able to do something like that. Our hero simply tells him that he's a butler here and was actually being gentle with the men. He then goes on to say that he is only using persuasion physics, but we all know that it's simple violence that he's resorting to. Rekudo tells the bald leader to take his trash and go away, but the fool tries to threaten our hero with his rank. He reveals his name to be Kosas from Reindesu and says that Rekudo should not lay his hands on him. However, our hero doesn't care about silly status names and shows his scary side to Kosas, but that the bald coward takes his men and runs away as fast as he can, thus ending the silly disruption they had caused to the maid cafe. Now that the nuisance has been dealt with, Rekudo apologizes to the patrons of the cafe and is greeted with loud applause. However, the danger is far from over as Tiana asks about Kosas claiming to be from Reindesu. Rekudo confirms that he did say this, and it makes Tiana uneasy, because these goons are known to extort money by robbing ships. Our hero asks for their threat level and learns that their toughest fighter is at best a mid-B rank, so there isn't much to worry about. However, with the timing, it does look like this is the work of a jealous Camille. There's no time to waste, so Rekudo decides to go greet the Reindesu army by himself. Tiana thinks it's a bad idea, but our hero knows that Koso will show up with more of his bald friends, so it's better to just be done with it. He even jokes that all of this is happening because the maid cafe is making good money. The girls are pleased to see their lover boy in high spirits, but Rekudo asks Natsumi to go inside the cafe and rest. She says that she just took a break, but our hero tells her that he has to take care of Koso and his goons. Natsumi will just be in his way if she's out here, so she has to go back inside. Of course, she thinks that her master is being mean, but Rekudo states that he's only speaking the truth out of concern for his harem girls. Meanwhile, we see the Reindesu group in one of their ships, and Koso seems to have explained everything that happened at the maid cafe to his boss. She is interested in Rekudo because he sounds like a worthy opponent, but at the same time, she has to get the job done because she has been paid to do so. With that, she summons her sea dragon named Sildra and tells him that they need to sink their opponents. The beast listens to his mistress and carries her all the way from the ship to the maid cafe. She drops down from the dragon and presents herself as a cute girl. Rekudo can't help but stare at her as she tries to talk high and mighty with him. She thinks that our hero is too scared to talk to her right now, but he simply says that he was busy looking at her body. As expected, this makes the pirate girl upset and she calls Rekudo a whole bunch of names for his shady words. He clearly doesn't care for any of that, and they get down to business regarding the thrashing he handed out to Koso and his men. The pirate girl tries to mock Rekudo by asking if he's going to cry, and openly says that he can't challenge the wind and the rain. Our hero only wants to get to the point, so the pirate girl summons a mercurial ray storm to begin her attack. The pirate girl believes that she has the upper hand due to the attack and asks Rekudo if he's ready to surrender now. Of course, she has no idea who she's dealing with, and our hero gives her a brief taste of his powers by punching her through the tornado with ease. This is more than enough to knock out the pirate girl, and she surrenders almost instantly after such a quick defeat, realizing that she shouldn't be messing around. The pirate girl bows down to Rekudo and begs him to forgive her. She promises not to do something like this ever again, but Rekudo continues to mock her. Especially after all the brave words she was saying earlier, the pirate girl clearly regrets her actions. So our hero asks her who had given the order to attack the maid cafe. The pirate girl can't give the name of her client due to credit issues, but this proves to Rekudo that it was indeed someone else who wanted to attack Tiana's store. The pirate girl realizes that she messed up, so she tries to cover up for it, but Rekudo asks how he should punish her. His intrusive thoughts get the better of him once again, so he asks the pirate girl to show her pirate body. This makes her a little uneasy, but Rekudo says that he can think of many other ways to punish her. With that, the pirate girl quietly does as he says, and Rekudo gets a nice look at the goods. She just wants to be let off the hook as soon as possible, so our hero proceeds to ask her for her money before she can go back home. She is shocked to see how shameless Rekudo can be, but he says that she can choose to pay with her body if she doesn't have the money. The pirate girl decides to pay up with cash, and this interests Rekudo. He learns that she has never done such a thing before in her life, so he asks if she is looking for a boyfriend. The pirate girl says that she likes people who are stronger than her and have masculine hands. But Natsumi comes to the scene and announces that Rekudo is exactly like that. The pirate girl says that she wants a man who is kind and not shady like Rekudo, but Natsumi says that her lover boy is only strict when he is around other people. She maintains that Rekudo is very kind and gentle when he is alone with his harem girls. Our hero proceeds to pat the pirate girl's head and it makes her blush, but she just runs away from the scene because she is too shy to do unspeakable things with Rekudo. The coast is clear for now, but Rekudo is upset with Natsumi because she got herself into danger by stepping out of the maid cafe. She says that she only wanted to surprise her lover boy, but she does admit that she went against his orders. Our hero asks Natsumi to lend him her ear, so she thinks that he's asking for an apology. In a hilarious display, Natsumi starts to remove her outfit because she thinks this is how Rekudo likes girls to say sorry to him. Of course, that's not the case here, and our hero makes it known to Natsumi that he isn't angry at her. She is glad to hear this, but then Rekudo asks her to bring him a whetstone. Natsumi wants to know why he's asking for such an item, and then Rekudo explains that he needs it to question Camille. It's obvious to him that the evil cat girl had organized the pirate attack, but he wants to have proof while he's questioning her. Tiana asks Rekudo and Natsumi to be careful as they set out for their latest mission. Natsumi thinks that what they're doing is wrong and illegal, but her lover boy thinks it's perfectly fine. The couple sneaks closely into the shop and Rekudo starts to pick the lock. He says that these actions can't be helped because there was no way Camille would be easy to catch during the day. As he opens the lock, Natsumi asks him what he will do if Camille somehow turns out to be innocent. He simply says that he will pull out another dojo like last time, and it makes Natsumi anxious. However, our hero maintains that you need to sort things out by talking in person because that is the way of the world. It doesn't take long for Rekudo to open the door, and then he takes Natsumi inside with him. The couple looks around and they find Camille's room with a huge label on it, so Rekudo kicks it open in an instant. As expected, Camille is surprised to see this home invasion, and we also see Tiana, who is feeling very anxious about the whole thing. Rekudo says that he's here to talk to her, but Camille just scolds him for kicking down her door. Our hero gets straight to the point and mentions the pirates who had come to the maid cafe earlier today. He says that they told him it was Camille who gave them the order, and we can see the evil cat girl getting a little nervous about it. She acts innocent and says that she doesn't even know those people. As a matter of fact, she has no memory of talking to them in the first place. Rekudo can't let it end here, so he keeps pushing and mentions the name Rindesu. Even then, Camille says that she doesn't know them, so Rekudo tries to unsettle her by asking why the pirates would feed him such a lie. Camille turns on her villain mode again and says that the pirates might have been jealous of her because of her success. She even mocks Rekudo by saying the pirates tricked him into attacking her due to this jealousy, and he fell for it. Rekudo thinks her statements are a bit too silly, but Camille says that if Rekudo were to attack her right now, there's no way to prove that the pirates made the whole thing happen. She pushes her luck a bit too much by calling Rekudo a fool and asking him to use his head. But this is where things get interesting. Rekudo pulls out the whetstone and asks Camille to touch it with her fingers. She wants to know what it is, but our hero simply asks her to humor him, so she touches the whetstone. With the mission complete, Rekudo asks Natsumi to get the other things so that they can analyze the whetstone. Some visuals appear on the stone, so Camille asks what this means. Our hero asks her if she knows how to see fingerprints, so she says that it has something to do with chemicals. Rekudo tells her she's wrong and goes on to explain that it can be done just by using some kind of powder. He has this powder with him right now, so he uses it on the whetstone and shows Camille her own fingerprints. That's not all though, as he also brings out the coins that the pirate girl had given him earlier. As suspected, these coins were the same payment that was given to her by Camille, as can be seen by the fingerprints on them. This easily proves that Camille was the culprit all along, so Rekudo mocks her by asking how her fingerprints are on the same coins that were given to the pirates as a payment. She tries to shake it off by saying it's only a coincidence, but Rekudo says that the prints are not just on one coin, but on quite a few of them. Natsumi is pleased to see this, because it means that her lover boy didn't take the money from the pirate girl out of greed. However, our hero says that he would have taken the coins either way, so she asks him to say something nice for once. Camille has been humiliated and insulted by this, so there's no other way to go. She admits that she was the one who had paid the pirates to attack the maid cafe. She even tries to justify her actions by saying adventurers do whatever they want just because they have the power to do so. If that is the case, then even she should be allowed to use her money to play with other people. Her words anger Rekudo, so he raises his hand as he approaches her. Camille is ready for her punishment, but it's not what she thinks it to be. Our hero grabs her body and places her on his lap so that he can give her a good spanking. What follows is a hilarious session which even Natsumi finds to be a bit over the top. Rekudo tells Camille that she should have never done such a horrible thing if she didn't want to get spanked. But she says that he doesn't know how she feels. Her words interest Rekudo, so he asks Camille if she wants to talk about it. This is when Camille reveals that she used to be bullied back when she was a child. The funny thing about this is that she was a boy in her previous life and she was bullied back then. She was crossing the road one day when a truck hit her, and she reincarnated into this world as a cat girl. This explains how Camille ended up the way she is right now. Rekudo offers her some comfort and says that it's no right to bully people who had nothing to do with what had happened to her. Camille says that's a lot easier said than done, because the bullies still come to her in her dreams and trouble her there. Our hero gives her some more comfort and says that he used to be beaten by his parents too when he was a child, and it still bothers him today. However, this does not mean that he can go around hurting other people because it's not the right thing to do. His words finally have an impact on Camille, who is now ready to be a better person. With that, Rekudo decides to take her to Tana's shop so that they can all make up. Tana is surprised to see Rekudo entering with Camille by his side, and it gets even more interesting when he asks her to cook something for the cat girl. Rekudo says that Camille wants to eat a meal that has been made only by Tana, so she wonders what's going on here. The choice of dish is up to Tana to decide, and it can be the worst possible meal, but Camille has to eat it. Tana realizes that this is the punishment being given to Camille, and then we see an egg being sent to the kitchen. Both Natsumi and Camille are scared to see it, so when Rekudo asks them what's going on, they explain that it's a wyvern egg. Some intense philosophy is spoken in the middle of the cooking session, but Tana manages to make a meal out of it and presents the egg to Camille. The dish actually looks nice and has a pleasant smell as well. Camille has to eat this, and she brings out a memory where she had to eat ramen out of a shoe before, so it should be fine for her. However, Rekudo seems shocked that she had to bring up such a useless memory right before eating a wyvern egg. To ease the pressure, Rekudo offers to have half of the egg, and even Natsumi joins in. Camille is shocked that our hero is willing to eat the egg by himself, but he simply says that it would be unfair to let the present version of her eat it by herself. Now, all three of them take a bite of the egg, and to their surprise, it's actually quite tasty. Tana explains that the egg will always taste bad if you try to cook it normally, but if you use the spices the right way, then it can be a good meal. Adventurers are anyway supposed to eat whatever they can get, but Camille is not able to withstand so much kindness. She asks the others why they're being so nice to her, especially after the way she has behaved with them. Tana explains that she only wanted to scare her with the egg, but now that Camille isn't going to be evil anymore, then there's no reason for her to get angry. The cat girl feels so guilty that she openly apologizes to everyone in the room. Our hero figures that this is a much better way of teaching a lesson than punishing Camille, so everyone is glad with the outcome. After this happy ending, things are back to normal at the maid cafe. But the harem girls are still unhappy with the way their lover boy is dedicating one day to each of them. As a matter of fact, Mia misses holding Rekudo so much that she grabs Natsumi's arm just to feel a little better. Even Ria doesn't like this, so Saruka comes to her aid, but as expected, she gets smashed to the floor once again. This prompts Reina to ask her to tone down her behavior because it scares Ria. However, Saruka likes to see Ria frightened, which just goes on to raise more doubts about her capabilities as a bodyguard. What's next in store for our hero? Is he going to get with Camille as well? Like, share, and subscribe if you like this video. Hit the bell icon to get notified when I upload part 3. See you soon.